What
Let's
happened?
try this again. So you said the last thing I heard you say, Nabiha, was that you got tears in your eyes.
Yeah, I'm not sad or anything. It's just too bright.
It's too bright.
hmm Sometimes the winter time it can be very bright. Not because of the snow only, but everything just gets so light. You never
Oh, the
experienced that?
weather outside is frightful, and Nabiha so delightful.
You singing
Though
now?
we have no place to go, let it snow.
I love Frank Sinatra.
You over there, what is too bright? The snow is too bright?
Um, Sky, snow, winter just generally gets too bright. And it's too bright during the day, and then it gets too dark very quickly. Where are you from, Jerome? It doesn't snow where you from?
It gets too bright during the day and then it gets too dark very quickly.
hmm
I'm
Yeah.
from, you know, wherever I bounce around,
No, I mean like where
I'm
you grew up.
I mainly I grew up in South Carolina, so on the East Coast mainly.
No?
hmm
Does it snow?
Yeah, I've seen snow. I've seen snow in South Carolina, seen snow in Texas, seen snow in New York, seen snow. Yeah, yeah.
I didn't ask you if you've seen snow. I'm sure you've seen snow. I meant if it snows there. Like, do you guys have like four season in North
It
Carolina?
snows there. Yeah, I mean, not crazy often. It's not as common as in New York, but
Mm,
I've seen snow there. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But
It's like
I didn't have to wear sunglasses for the snow.
some days are
But
worse. I
but you're
should
saying it's too much. It's too much information,
too much
too much
brightness.
brightness. The
Too much
brightness is
light.
too. They dialed up like the universe dialed the brightness a little bit.
Sometimes you gotta dim it.
You got to dim it back.
You gotta dim
Put the
it.
dimmer. Do you ever put the dimmer on your light? Is your
No,
light ever too bright? You never put the dimmer?
no,
No?
no.
Even if there's a shimmer, you don't have to put that dimmer?
I used to do that.
Why?
Sometimes, the light can be too bright for some people. You don't want to blind people, so you have to dim it. You know how you sometimes, when someone is not understanding a concept or something like that, you have to make it easy for them to understand. You can't just give them. So yeah, that's dimming yourself down. Some people will call it like, have you ever heard people say like you have to dumb yourself down for some people?
I've
Yeah,
heard of the saying, you
yeah.
know. I've heard.
It's just a matter of the content. Yeah.
But did anybody have to dumb themselves down for you when you were growing up?
No, I don't think so. They
So
they
then,
tried, and I could see. Yeah, I could see that.
yeah.
Like
So
when they
did
talk.
it, yeah.
Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. They didn't have to?
No, you know how adults talk to children like they're dumb or something. You look down on them just because of their short. You have to sit down, to get to their level somehow. So I used to always feel offended when someone is talking to me from above. Like who are you to talk to me from above? So come down. Or I had to always go up. So yeah, I feel like adults just assume children are dumb. They do, and then they talk to them like dogs, like "Oh, you're good girl" or something like that, stuff like that. Not all children are children like that. Yeah.
You said you don't feel offended. You know what makes me feel offended? Sometimes
No.
what I get offended sometimes
hmm
when I can't see your eyes, I feel offended.
Really?
I feel
You can
offended.
so you can't see my eyes now.
I feel it. I can't see them. I can't see your. Oh, there they go. There they are. They exist. They do exist. Oh my gosh. I feel like
See?
you're one of the the folks that be running out the store with the cap and the sunglasses and trying to get away from the paparazzi. The paparazzi is out here for you.
Yeah. I was just getting away. You just took my cover off. I'm just
Go
kidding.
ahead. You could put it back on, you know, be comfortable. Be
Yeah.
comfortable. I just
But
want to make sure they were real, you know.
yeah. So do you get offended by not seeing someone's eyes?
No, I was just playing. I'm just playing. No, to each their own. You know, some people they don't want to reveal too much, and they say that the eyes are the windows to the soul. You know, do you believe that?
The window to the soul.
The eyes, yeah.
I've never resonated with that saying.
You ever talk to somebody who seemed like more of a shifty character, like they weren't all there, and they while they were talking to you, they were never looking at you. They were looking everywhere else but you.
Yeah, I see them as nervous people.
Everywhere else. Yeah. Did you feel comfortable around that person?
Um, I would feel like, I would think about if the person is comfortable talking to me. Not if I'm comfortable, but if the person is comfortable.
So
It would,
you would worry about them around you. You're not worried about you around them.
no, why would I? Like they are the one nervous and can't even look at me in the eye. So something is going on with them, so I would worry about it because I want them to feel comfortable around me, right? So if they were comfortable, they would look at me in the eye.
Mm,
So why would I worry about me?
right? So I like how you said that. If they were comfortable, they could look you in the eye. You would imagine, right?
Yeah, yeah. But just to avoid my eyes, I think if somebody really wants to be dodgy, they will really look deep into my eyes.
Why?
Because, they really want to find out something, and then they want to put that little fake on it, and then you know, they want to make it authentic. But if the person is already here, they're already all over the place. Like, you can't trick me that way.
Trick you?
Yeah, if the person was like onto something else, right? And they were really like offending you or something like that, I wouldn't think they would look away. I think they will look deep within you to find whatever that weakness you have.
Weakness.
Hmm. You don't think so?
You think people are just looking for your weakness?
If somebody wants to do something, wants to offend you, how can they offend you? They will look into your weakness, right?
But
That's what we're talking about.
I thought you said this person is nervous and that's why their eyes are shifting.
Hmm.
Why they can't stay centered. They can't
Hmm.
stay in
Yeah.
the
So
middle.
okay, So you said if the person was not looking at you, would you feel offended, right?
Or would you be comfortable around that person? You said you're not worried about yourself. You're
Yeah.
worried about someone else.
Hmm. I wouldn't worry about them. I would feel maybe the fact that they are not comfortable around me would make me uncomfortable,
Mm,
but not the fact that they're looking away wouldn't make me uncomfortable.
I see. I see. That's interesting. That's interesting.
Why? Why?
No, it's just it's interesting. You know, everything you tell me, it's interesting. You know?
Okay. Okay. Interesting. That was interesting.
Yeah, like when you
Oh,
tell me things, sometimes I'm just inside my head, I'm like this. I'm like this.
interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
I want to hear you now. Okay, if you saw someone that was looking away and very nervous.
I would know that, you know, maybe they're going through something, right? Or maybe that's just their character. They might be like, you know, they say that a, a wavering gaze is a wavering mind.
Hmm.
You know, when we don't have that single pointedness of the eyes, the mind cannot grasp a whole lot. You know, the eyes are signifying. There's people that they're able to see just off of the eyes. They know. You hear somebody, Nabiha. Watch somebody when they're recalling something
Hmm.
and it's visual. They might look up to the right or the left.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
they
Hmm.
look up to the right or the left, it could be from their imagination or it could be a fabrication, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So they're coming up with something on the fly. They're coming up with something, so they look up with their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But then if somebody looks left to the right on the center line, that might be auditory. So they're thinking of something that they heard. If they're looking
Mm-hmm.
down to the sides down, that's more feeling. So you watch somebody when they're recalling a feeling, they'll look down to the sides, like down and to the left or down and to the right, when they're emotionally invested within this memory. There was an emotional connection within that memory. But if they look up, that might be visual. They're recalling it like, oh, I remember this. Oh yeah,
Oh,
back in the
I
day.
see that part.
You
That
see,
one, yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
Just
see that one.
So when somebody's like this and just like kind of like just I just like all over the place, where is the mind? Where is that?
Yeah, this is from the center.
Trying to
Yeah,
find it.
I like people like that though. I
You,
do.
you like you find them charming?
No, it's just that, I've seen many of them that people will call like, mental ill or something like that, or they like, just doing them. But the only thing is like they have that social anxiety, like they can't interact with human beings in a sense. So then they automatically become like that. So I like them because I really want them to find that, not to find that center, but that when they're by themselves, they're different. It's the presence of people and stuff that makes them like that. I feel like I don't think they walk around like this all the time. It's just like immediately when they meet you and then you see that happens. I know exactly what's going on. I'm like, please don't be scared of me. Just like the turkeys, when I see them, when I'm walking by them, they run away. I'm like, I'm not gonna eat you, please. It's the same thing when I see someone that someone will call like mental ill. It's like we are mental ill, really, we really are. It's just a different degree, right? But to say someone is like mental ill and then you stamp them with that, then that makes the mind even like worse. So I like to kind of like interact with them and then be like, oh, I don't see what you're doing. I don't see your eyes like this. I don't see any of that. And then that centers them somehow. So
So you like for people to find their center in the midst of other people.
yeah, you should, you should know that you are not different. But if everybody's like pointing fingers, then you become like that. Like all of us, I believe if people came at you today and say like, Jerome, you're crazy, you crazy, you crazy, you crazy, eventually you would just like, cool, you would just go there. You believe in it. So the more people that tell you, the more you believe in it, and then you will do some weird stuff. But we're not, you know
So
we're
here's the
not.
question. Do you feel like what's more impactful are the things that people say about you or the things that you say about yourself? Which one
I
is
think they
more
go
impactful?
together. The one that I say to myself is more impactful. That's the one that you actually can get to. It can be effective if you. I feel like people's opinions do affect us as well. you know, and it hurts us more when other people say it than what we say to ourselves, because we are used to criticizing ourselves all the time. We don't take offense for that. We just normalize that internal negative talk. And then in the long run, that will damage us. But someone can just say something immediately, and then that could throw you off because it came from someone else. But at the same time, it wouldn't hit you unless you had it already within you. If you didn't feel like that about yourself, you bullying yourself is more easier. But when someone else bullies you, it's like, oh my God, you tapped into what I say to myself, only I can say to myself. It's like when you say someone the N word, and if a white person say it, it's like something else. But if a brother says, it's like this, it's a mental thing, you know, it's a mental thing. So it may hurt when other people say it, but the damage is far more when you negatively talk to yourself all the time. So yeah, which one is worse? I think it's self-negative talk is, yeah,
The
that shapes
self-talk?
people. Hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Nabiha. Because, for instance, people already think that we're crazy, right?
Hmm.
We know this, you know. My
Yeah.
family thinks I'm crazy, you know. I've lost friends. I've lost, folks think I'm crazy. So, you know, if the whole world thought you were crazy and the whole world called you crazy, how would you stay sane?
Hmm. I guess that crazy is the new normal for me. You know,
Say
I'll
that again?
make that I'll make that crazy normal. That would be my vibe. So that everybody has to just deal with it, I guess. I don't know. If the whole world thinks I'm crazy, just me, I would think the whole world is crazy. I would really think the whole world is crazy. That's the only thing I would think. Because for the whole world to point finger at me, I'm the only one doing right. you know, if you have that time to just focus on me, I get that attention. I'm the only one doing right. I would think so, right? Yeah. What about you? Will you go crazy?
So you would say that the whole world is upside down and that you're the only one who is right side up. That would be
Hmm.
your opinion, your paradigm, your perception.
Of course.
If the collective is like, if that's their directive, you're like, okay, that's your perspective. But
Absolutely.
you guys are the ones.
Yeah, I wouldn't even point fingers. It's too many fingers for me. I don't got so many fingers, but I know. Yeah, that's funny.
Interesting. Interesting. And that would give you a semblance of peace? Would that put your own mind at ease to say, no, it's you?
No, he was just like maybe put their mind to ease. I don't know, but for me, if I was the only one that's crazy, then let it be. I wouldn't even say like, oh, I'm crazy. I wouldn't identify myself. But if you identify me, you know, then right back at you.
You said, let
I,
it be.
yeah,
Let
let
it
it
be.
be.
One of my favorite movies, and this was with Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, Nabiha. The movie was called Shutter Island. You ever seen this movie?
What is it called?
Shutter Island.
No,
Shutter
maybe I don't
Island.
remember the title, but yeah.
It's one of my favorite films just because of the psychological aspect.
Hmm.
The premise is a man goes to like an insane asylum, like a psych ward that's deep in this island,
Mm.
for
Hmm.
people who have mental instabilities. And he's going there and he's, supposedly he's like studying them and observing them and witnessing them, and people are getting lobotomies and people are, all sorts of stuff are happening to different people, prescribed medication and going to this psychiatrist and that counselor, and everybody's got problems in this place, right?
Hmm.
But then something down the line happens, something shifts, something turns, and he ends up a patient in this psych ward. Even though he went there, he ends up as one of the patients. And now they're pointing the finger at him, telling him he's crazy. And he can't find a way out. Once he
Yeah.
has the medication, it's over. No one believes him. His life is kind of signed away. And now he becomes one of the people on the island. And they said, oh,
That used to be my
you,
nightmare.
yeah. You said that's a nightmare?
That used to be my nightmare.
Tell me about it. Why?
Hmm. I think I've seen that movie. I've also seen different documentaries of, those kind of facilities where they keep people. And I used to analyze a lot of that. I wish I could go to those kind of facility and just like pretend and just see, the mind, just to be one of them. So I can just see everybody's story and just talk to them, because I don't think anybody's crazy, to be honest. I think the society makes people crazy. I don't think anybody's crazy. But it used to be my nightmare growing up because I would have these thoughts of different things, right? And I'm like, if I share it, they'll put me in there. They give me one pill and then it will just go away. I will just become crazy. So I would always hold back everything, every opinion, anything that I know, I hold it back. I just started sharing my thoughts now in 2019, but I share with just specific people. So when I'm like in the work settings or if I'm like in a different places, there's no way I would share my mind when I think of certain things. Because I'm just like, oh my God, what if they put me in that house? What if they put me in those medicals? What if they do those things? It's easy. It's easy. It's a lot of people that just waking up and then they shut them down with the pills, call them crazy. So yeah, that's why you shouldn't be talking to anybody about
So
anything.
so it made you afraid to share?
Yes. I'm still not comfortable to share whatever that's on my mind.
because of
It's not, it
that
doesn't fit society.
because of that reason?
Yeah.
Because
That
why?
and many others.
Because why do you say that was your nightmare? You know, like this is my nightmare.
Yeah, no, to know that you are not crazy, and just because of your opinion is different, now they give you pills, and then now you're trapped in the cycle of craziness. Now you're starting to believe yourself. That's a nightmare. I don't want to be here if that happens. I really don't want to be here if that happens, because it's a cycle. You know, every pill would actually make you sick. You know, every pill is a drug. They would just put you into that little la la land, and then when you come back, you know, your opinions are just dead. They're just dead. Now you think you are cuckoo. The rest of the world is okay. They just, you know, just doing whatever they're told, right?
Okay, so you're saying the more you keep receiving that information, like the more you see your own confirmation of
Hmm.
that craziness that everybody is, you know, putting all those labels on the table.
Yeah.
So now you're like, there's nothing you can do. It becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy
Hmm.
from the outside in and then from the
Exactly.
inside out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we have to be careful with sharing our opinions. That's why we have to share with only. That's why I don't like preaching and teaching, because the preaching and teaching will, you know, make things more obvious, and it looks like, you know, we are this cult moving into craziness or something like that. So it's easier to just share with people that really can resonate with your ways and the things that you have to say. You know, you don't have to go out in the world and just say like, oh, don't eat McDonald's, this is what it is. You know, you can't do that, but you can just be the message, right? And if you be in the message and you are calm in every situations, you know, you can look at someone and you see like, okay, will this person understand what I'm talking about? If you see that, if you can read that they cannot, just don't give it to them. Don't give that information to them. It's not useful. The information is only useful for the ones that are receptive to it, you know. So there are not many of us, but you know, that's the only way we can be ourselves without being called crazy somehow.
That's interesting because you know you used to have something in your bio, Nabiha, and it said something like it was back in the day. It said, "If you found me, then that means you heard my message. Like if you receive me, that means you receive my message."
Hmm. You can never resonate with my messages unless you're tapped into the same frequency.
In about 5 minutes, I'll
I
look
don't
at
believe
you.
that.
We'll
There
begin.
is no way you would understand. Like there are some people that would look at what I'm saying and then be like, "What is this? I don't get it." I'm like, it's not for you. You're not ready yet. I can't explain it to you. I can't pour it into you. You have to be receptive. I just can't. So you just wait, and then they wait. You know how many people? Like I've got 8,000 followers. So many people. I think like thousands of people said, "I didn't understand what you were saying. I get it now." It's like they go back to my post and it's like, it clicked now. You know, it clicked. So yeah, it's just all frequencies.
And when you say I can't pour it into you, you
Hmm.
know, like I can't pour it in there, it's not gonna go in, right? You're not worried about pouring it into them. You're not worried about them not getting it, but you're worried about the wrong people receiving it.
I mean, a wrong person cannot even receive it. It's like you waste your time. It's like you're pouring into something that's already overfilled, you know?
So if the wrong person can't receive it anyway, then where's the nightmare?
The nightmare is the wrong person has their own perceptions on that, right? So since they're not receiving it the way you know it, they'll receive it in their own way, which is crazy. It becomes crazy to them when they can't receive it. You get it? If you say like, okay, hey, I don't eat, I don't, you know, I don't think we're supposed to. I think our natural state is fasting. You'll look at you, you crazy. Yeah. Because it's not normal for some people. They can't, like you said one time, like skipping one meal is a nightmare. So if you tell them like I don't even eat, what do you think they will call you? Crazy. It's not like that they didn't hear the message. They heard it, but they took it their way. What? You're looking
So,
at
so
something.
you're not worried about the right person receiving it wrongly. You're worried about the wrong person receiving it wrongly.
Mhm. The right person will never receive it wrongly. Obviously, they're wrong also. So, the right person will never receive it wrong. They just haven't. They're just not ready. Sometimes you just get part of the message. You know, how everybody walk around and say we are one. They just know how to say it, but nobody have really grasped it in a sense. But we know the concept and we have like part of it, like some kind of understanding. But if the concept sink in and you know that everything is just one, you wouldn't even say we're one. You wouldn't.
Right. Because, being back with your family now, you would say that you've already seen the impact that you've had on your family without preaching or teaching. You're already reaching. You would say that, right?
Absolutely.
Like you've seen examples of them doing different things because they see you doing differently.
Absolutely. I can see everything. And I didn't even tell them anything. I didn't
Right.
preach. I didn't say anything. My sister and her husband, they're making ginger shots now. my, her husband was making some ginger shots this morning. And yeah, they start doing qigong with me. They start stretching. Everything in the house is more organic. I would never think, never. I would never think. And I didn't say anything. But it's ups and downs. Sometimes they wonder like, you don't eat? Yesterday, my nephew was like, just eat something. Like just have this, and it was specifically meat and something. And I said, no, I don't need to. And he said, just have it. Like it was like forced, like you have to have it just one time, one time. And I'm like, why? Would you benefit from it? Would you? He was kind of like mad inside of him. Just eat something. Yeah. So
So what did you feel like? What, because you feel a lot. You're very connected when it comes to your emotional intelligence. Your EQ is high, right? As well as your IQ, you have that EQ as well. So what did you feel coming from him when he was like, just eat it, just do it? Like, what was that feeling? What was that?
ah, I was just thinking that's not him. It must be the parasite or something because to to even say like just try it, like just try one time. I'm like, I can't. What if I die? I really believe I would die if I had some animal products. But he's like, just do it. And I was just listening, I was just walking into the house and the voice was just saying like, do it, do it. And I was just looking at him. I'm like, you need some detox. In my mind, I was just thinking, you really need some detox because that's not you talking. Because what are you getting out of what I eat? What would you get what I eat? Like it's me. It's not gonna benefit you. It's not gonna give you anything. Like, what is the satisfaction that you have with me just breaking my own ways? There must be, if it was like wrong ways, let's say like I came in there and I was on drugs and this, they would ignore it. He wouldn't say anything. He wouldn't say anything. He wouldn't say like, hey, just get off that right now, Something wouldn't speak from him. But I think it's the same thing when you're fasting. People just want you to break it. It's like, why? What do you get out of it?
Yeah, where does that come from? Because you said that, it felt like aggression. It feels like there was a sense of frustration or maybe even a hint of intimidation, almost like there was a lack of validation to see you and you're not consuming, you're not eating. Why aren't you eating? Just eat it. Just try a piece. And you're thinking to yourself, well, what if I try and then I die?
Mm-hmm.
But he's not thinking that,
No.
right? He's just like, you have to just do it.
Mm-hmm.
So where's that disconnect? Where do you think that was coming from? You said maybe you felt like it was a parasite, but is it something deeper? Because That's your
I think
family.
it's something deeper, like, I think sometimes, even your body and your consciousness will just know that what's right for you, When you see someone else doing it, you would just take that blame, like, oh, maybe I'm doing something wrong, you know? And instead of taking the initiative and maybe like saying like, hey, what do you take? Let me also, try out what worked for you and this. They don't have that maturity. So they will be like, oh my God, just stop it, Don't do it. It's so crazy. They will tell you to not do it because it's something within them that feels some guilt, some type of guilt, that they should have done something like that. And he should have thought about his health or whatever. And he's not that much younger than me, So I could understand that he was the one that spoke up. He's the one that always get offended. And he forced, the little ones to eat all the time. He said, hey, come on, eat all the time, And I always have some kind of natural reaction. I don't mean to, but if I'm busy reading or something like that, my head will go up every time he say it. So he sensed those kind of energies, and then he will always look at me like, is she here? When he's asking the kids, is she here? But I don't even say anything. It's just my energy. I never say don't ask the kids. I never say anything about food. I never mention anything about food. I'm just me, and everything is just coming out, I guess, from them. So.
Right, right. Because, like you said, Nabiha, what would be the sense of satisfaction that he might have if he witnessed you eating something that you've told him you don't eat? You're like, I don't do this. This is not what I do. It's not like it's against your religion. It's just a choice. You made a choice, a conscious decision to not do something. And he's wanting you to do it so bad. But in the moment that you did it, if you were able to succumb or surrender to his advances and you said, okay, and you put it in your mouth, what would he do? Would he be like, ah,
I don't know.
I knew it? Would that be like a moment of like pleasure for him? Would he be pleased to know that you're eating because he's concerned for you? Or would it be a moment of, you're one of us? What would
I
that
think
be?
so. I think that's what it is. Ooh, you one of us now. It's just weird. I find that very, but I know my family, are restricted when it comes to anything with pork. They will read the toothpaste, look for pork, anything that has to do with pork. They will look away. So I do that with everything, right? And I told him like, let's see, would you eat pork? Just try it. What's it gonna do for you? It's like you eat the cow, why don't you eat the pork? Oh, my religion, my this. And I said, veganism is a kind of religion too. So that's my belief, So I can't force myself, just the way you cannot force yourself to eat pork. So it's a way for me to make him understand somehow. But then he still thinks like, I'm weird. Like, pork, God said it, but this is like some idea that you made up. But the pork part is God that did it. Yeah.
Have you ever witnessed someone, Nabiha, that you felt had found something, like some glimpse beyond the veil or some freedom that someone found that you were either not jealous of, but there was a slight envy? I remember there were people in my old Advent home
Mm-hmm.
and different places in my life that would come around me and be like, why are you so happy? You know, like,
Mm-hmm.
why do you have so much joy? Why are you smiling? Why are you laughing? Like,
Thank you guys for
why
your
are you so
patience.
happy? And then they would ask me like, how can I be
There's going to be a little
like
bit of
you?
delay because I have maintenance on working.
You know, like
Mm-hmm.
you seem so free, you seem so carefree, like nothing deters you, nothing perturbs you, nothing disturbs you. Why can't I be like that? Have you ever had somebody that looked at you in that way, that they thought that there was something you had that they didn't have, and it frustrated them that they didn't have that? They wondered, how did you get that? Like it was something that you got.
Mm. It's two different people. There are some people that will come to you and they will ask you like, hey, like you have so much energy, You're always happy. What do you do, you know? And I feel like that's a level of maturity. Like, okay, this person really, how would you inquire information anyway? You know, if you don't ask people directly, you know, you don't go to the doctors, you just ask someone that maybe, you know, is doing something and then they feel happy all the time and you want to feel like that. So it's right for me to just ask like, hey, what did you do? You know, I want to feel like that too. I feel like that's mature person, and I'll really help them and, you know, tell them what it is. But then you have the other ones that would say, oh my God, you never rest. You know, like you're always so active, you know, and like take a nap or something. Like what? I'm like, if you think I'm active, what do you think I need a nap? Like it doesn't even make sense. If you really think I'm so active all the time and I'm doing something, where does the nap come from? But they are tired and they take maybe a lot of naps. So they feel like, you know, why don't you take naps? How do you charge? You know, I charge because of these other things that I do. But if they ask me like, how do you charge and why do you have so much energy? Can you tell me? That would be different, right? So you can see where the question is coming from.
And it isn't just the things that you do, but more often than not, it's a lot of things you don't do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't do a lot of things that other people do. So
Exactly. But
there's a
people think
lot
they're
of
doing something.
so
Yeah.
there's a lot of natural energy running within you because there's a lot of things that you just don't do. And
Mm.
then, like you said, there's a saying that, and I know you've heard this before. It says, "Misery loves company."
Company.
You've heard that?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you, why do you think they say that?
I think, when people are, when they don't, it says itself though, if someone doesn't even like themselves and they like miserable, they want to find that energy in other people, you know? And most of the time they will drag people down because that's how they feel. You only treat people the way you treat yourself, you know? You only treat the outside world the way you feel on the inside. There's no rocket science. It's just that way it is. Whatever you put in, you put out, you know? And whatever you feel on the outside, that's how you feel on the outside. On the inside, that's how you feel on the outside. So every time I meet people and they treat me some type of way, I know it's coming from them. There's nothing wrong with me. It's never anything wrong with you because of whatever you're displaying comes from you. So I look back at the person and I'm like, okay, you need some work to do, with yourself. Sometimes, most of the time, people will say things that they feel from the inside, something they feel offended by, or let's say like someone will be self-conscious, of your ways. And if someone is feeling self-conscious all the time, that means like they have something underlying, that is coming up every time they see it, you know. So it's rather them than me most of the times. And I
And
feel the
it
same.
and if someone is around you and they feel self-conscious about your ways, your lifestyle, your style of living, right?
Hmm.
It's not giving to them. Your style of living is not giving. And they feel offended. Do you feel the need to apologize
No,
for offending them by just being the way that you are?
no. Most of the time, I wouldn't even register it like that. I would see it as, okay, if I'm fasting and you feel offended by fasting, I would recommend you fast. That's probably why you're offended. Yeah. Why would it? Because otherwise, you wouldn't even see if I'm fasting or not. If I'm eating something, if I'm not eating something and you're offended by it, that means you just eat too much, or you feel like you eat too much. You know, that's all it is. Because my ways have no business with you. Like unless you feel it from inside. Like something I'm doing, why would that offend you? Because most of the times, have you seen some people will come to you and then they want to save you from hell and heaven and whatnot? But they can never save you from the street, the real action that's happening right in front of them. But they will come and preach to you and say, hey, if you don't do this, if you sin, you will go to hell, and I want to help you. Why are you using your time on that? You don't even know how hell looks like, but still you want to preach it. But you can't help a brother when they are outside actually struggling. The mind works like that. So it's mostly like what people feel on the inside that they're trying to display on the outside. Most of the times when people are giving you, it's like they're bullying you in a different way because they want you to feel the way they feel. So they will say some things that they are, they're struggling with. If they feel like they have a food addiction, or they don't have. A lot of people would think like my life is so perfect and I don't have any problems. I just don't care. That's all it is. You care too much, maybe, of the small little problems or whatever. And I may not even just care about them, but it doesn't mean they're absent. They're there. I have my little issues here and there. I have my problems. I have my life going on. But it's like, what is it that I'm giving attention to? So me doing nothing does not mean I'm not doing anything. I'm doing everything by not doing anything.
Can you say that again? You said me doing nothing
Does not mean I'm not doing anything. Yeah. I'm actually doing everything by doing nothing.
Okay.
So yeah. And I really mean it. Like when you're doing nothing, you're doing a lot, because doing nothing means like, when something comes up and is not aligned with you, you say, I don't care. That's doing something. You can't even, people who think they're doing something don't even have the courage to say, I don't want to do this. So how are you doing something when you can't even decline something that's, harming you, and you still say, I'm doing something. What are you doing then? You're actively doing what's harming you. So who's doing something? So it's different. I feel like doing nothing is a lot.
I see. Why do you feel like people have that perception of perfection when it comes to you? Why do you think people perceive your life as perfect? Like, oh man, she's just, why do you think they see that like that?
Like I said, it's like something from within. Like some people will say like, oh, I work 8 hours and that's why I can't do this. What makes you think I don't work? What about the people that have normal jobs? But what makes you think I don't? Like I'm raising kids, I'm working, I'm doing a lot of things, but in your mind, you really think just because I have freedom to do whatever I want, you think I don't do anything that you do. But it's just that you prison yourself because you think that's, your 8 hours is occupied with something, but even if I'm occupied with work for 8 hours, I'm really not invested in it somehow. I'm still like invested in me because I need to learn how to like the environment that I'm working in. And if I don't like it, I need to like change it around and feel like, okay, I'm comfortable. But I would never sit in a chair on a desk and then feel like, okay, I have to do this because of money. I would not care. I would just leave. Immediately, I would leave. Unless, I'm going in and out of my office, going and joking with everybody, coming in again, doing whatever I like, while I'm doing work. I can't do it. But it's like, it's not like you cannot do it yourself, You can.
So you're saying the difference is that what people perceive or the problems that people don't see that you would perceive as problems, they're not problems because you just don't care.
Yeah.
You care or not.
But it's not that I don't even care. It's just like you choose how to care, You either care as it, let's say like if it's something that you can do something about it right now. I will give you an example. A lot of people will tell me like they have guilt feelings about, when they eat something, right? Let's say they're fasting and they eat something and they have like this guilt feeling. They make the whole journey so hard by applying that guilt. You ate the thing, so what? Can you move on? Can you just let it be? And then next step, right? But just because, oh my God, I ate this and I did this, oh my God, I'm just falling off. You giving that attention, that will become like a cycle of depression, right? So every time you want to fast, you would have that cycle of depression, like, oh my God, I broke something. What makes you think you're doing something right? What makes you think like you're doing something wrong? Now you have all this perception up in your head. Why can't you just flow and have fun? Things will fall off naturally. That's how I feel like. And people just make the journey harder for themselves. You tell them like to do a juice challenge. They ask you how much should I drink this day? How much? Just flow with it. You know, you should know. You should understand it, right? Why would you think about the quantity of things? Why would you worry? It's things like that, right? So I'm the one doing the juice challenge, but they give me challenge with those questions. Because the most challenging thing for me is like when people ask me how much, you know, how much should I drink? And I never put that on my challenges.
You said you're doing the challenge, but they're challenging you. You're like, now, you know, it wasn't a challenge until you challenged me. Now you're challenging me. Now
Exactly.
it's a challenge.
It's a challenge. Really, the only reason why it's a challenge is because of people's mind.
And you say you like a challenge, but not that kind of challenge.
No, because of that, it's how much juice, or to say like, oh, my juice is dead after 3 hours and I need to drink it. That's an excuse for you to just fill yourself again. You know, it's like if you know your juice is punctured, it's punctured. But if it's not, don't follow no 3 hours or 3 minutes or whatever people say. So people clinging on to ideas, making it into a problem, and then that makes life hard. Dust it off, whatever it is, move on. It's okay. It's okay. I mean it. It's okay because we make everything so worse.
Yeah, I had to go through, or I should say, I had to grow through that as well. You know, I agree with you totally when it comes to the guilt, the shame, and the blame game. It makes the journey much, much more difficult, for sure. So
Who you comp-
without, go ahead.
who you competing with? That's what I don't understand. Who you competing with? When you have guilt trips and you say like, oh, I broke this. Who challenged you? Who challenged you? You have your whole life to correct things. Every day is a new day, you know, like even if it's the same, it's just for you to correct, you know, find yourself. So if we're gonna wrestle with the guilt and what we do all the time, it's like I don't see where we can move, you know. So how was your guilt trip? Tell me. I interrupted you.
Oh no, no interruption. You know, it was just a part of my journey that I'm thankful for now, because had I not gone through that, I wouldn't have as much compassion and empathy that I have today for those of us who put ourselves through that kind of guilt, shame, and blame and downward spiral on and on and on, and then like there's no end, you know.
Yeah,
There's no end to that sort of self-sabotage. You look at yourself in the mirror and you know, there's so many things that you could say to yourself. Why wouldn't you say something positive, you know?
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Even in the moment that you feel for some reason like you failed, you know, you could, like you said, you dust yourself off, keep going,
Yeah,
you
there
know.
is
What are you
fail,
gonna do?
nothing. There is no fail. Fail is just imagination. There is no win either. You know, there's no such thing. It's just, you know, just thrive, just be, just live. And, you know, you choose every moment to smile and be joyful, you know. It's a choice. Life is full of choices, really. Just you need to know that you have choices. So when you choose the self-negative talks, when you choose to just, you know, feel like you're down, you have to go to work, you have to do this, all of those are choices that you're actively making. But people live like somebody's forcing them. That's why everybody's like, they did this to us. They. Who's they? You? It's just you. You have many reflections of yourself, you know? So life is not as complicated as we make it.
You know, one of your favorite songs, or I assumed when you told me about Michael Jackson, was The Man in the Mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And you said,
Yeah.
take a look at yourself and make the change. You said those words really impacted you.
Yeah.
If you want to make the world a better place,
Take a
you
look at
said,
yourself. Yeah.
why was it those words? Why was it that song that really influenced you?
I believe, you know, anyone, not only Michael Jackson, anyone that really, you know, guide you just towards yourself and tell you like, okay, hey, if you want to see a change, look within. It's someone that have figured out life, really, because life is not on the outside; it's on the inside, you know. And we all know, like when you look in the mirror, you know, you can clean the mirror as much as you want, but if the dust is on your face, it's never gonna change, you know. So you need to clean your face instead of the mirror. And most of us are trying to point the finger at the mirror instead of like, you know, just cleaning our face. You know, like, oh, look at you, you had something on your face, you know, to the mirror. It's like, just clean your face. And then we do this on the mirror. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
You've seen people that will take selfies or that will take pictures in the mirror, and then for the other people, the onlookers of that picture, whether it be a filter or whatever in that picture, they'll write something on the side like, "Please excuse the dirty mirror," right?
I did that.
Yeah. What made you want to do that? What made you feel like saying that?
I mean, I had my plants next to my mirror, and then I sprayed this kind of like sugary thing on my plants, so it comes on the mirror, and then it sticks, right? So I don't always clean it, but yeah. So the mirror was dirty.
But even if the mirror was dirty, you pointed it out. What
I
made
pointed it
you
out.
want to point it out for somebody to notice?
I pointed out because of, you know, so they wouldn't maybe think it was just a normal dirt. So it wasn't. It was just a spray, right? It's a sugar spray. So yeah, I guess judgments.
Right, because what judgments would matter if it was the spray versus like the dirt or the spray? What would matter? What would matter the most?
If it was the dust or the mirror,
Like on the mirror, what would matter the most about the mirror if it was the dust or the spray? What would matter? That would make you
sure,
feel like
but
I need to point this out. Like, excuse the mirror, please excuse the mirror.
yeah, don't bully the mirror. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't bully the mirror. I don't know, but you know, it's that people's judgments.
People judgments.
Yeah, people say like, "Oh my God, your window or your mirror is dirty" or something like that.
So not only
Yeah,
do we judge ourselves in the mirror, but we judge what someone might think about the mirror itself.
I guess so. Yeah, the mirror is not a mirror at that point. It's just a furniture. Hmm. But when you're looking at the mirror and you want to make a change, you can't change it from the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you clean the mirror,
Yeah.
maybe you can see better. But I mean, if the change is coming from you, you need to change clothes. Even if you clean the mirror, your clothes is not going to change.
And if you never clean the mirror, do you feel that someone would worry more about the mirror than worry about your image that's in the mirror?
I wouldn't actually care whether you
But
worry about the mirror or me at that point.
at that point, but that's after you point it out. You make it known for someone else to see that,
Yeah, the
right?
mirror. At that point, I was just worrying about the mirror, not
You were worried
myself.
about the mirror. You know,
I was
like no hard
just,
feelings on the mirror.
yes, don't bully my mirror.
What about
That
the
was,
this is a whole nother live. What about the mirror do you feel?
don't bully my furniture. Sis.
Yeah? You didn't want the mirror to take offense from the judgment?
No, but it comes back to me. You know, like I'm the caretaker of the mirror, right?
You're responsible for the mirror.
Oh
Mirrors
God,
have feelings too. Hey, all mirrors matter.
they do. Do you think we should have mirrors? I don't even think mirrors are that important.
Some people put sheets over their TVs because it's a black mirror. You ever seen a show called Black Mirror?
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah.
There's a, you know, the cell phone is a black mirror, the TV is a black mirror. You know, some people, you know, they put stuff over it so there's no connection, there's no reflection, you know,
Mental.
whatever's on the other side. And right before we go, that was one of the most powerful techniques that I ever had, Nabiha.
Which one?
Mirror gazing.
Oh,
Mirror
yeah.
gazing, that was one of the most powerful. You stare at yourself in a mirror for 10 minutes, it could change your whole life.
Yeah, I recommend to my clients to look at it 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes that's a good little, yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna see something. You're gonna see something you might not have even seen before. Yeah.
I've done mirror staring before. The only time I look at the mirror, I think I stare at it. Just like, who is this person? I can talk to myself, you know. I can look at the mirror. I'm like, who are you? You know, because it's not like you look at yourself every day. It's not like you see yourself all the time, right? And then I can look at my eyes and I'll be like, who are you in there? You know, and have fun with that.
You're like Peter Griffin. You ever seen Family Guy? You seen
Yeah.
Family Guy, right? With Peter Griffin, there was an episode, and you know, everybody in the episode, they always talk about Peter Griffin being overweight, like he's overweight. So there's one episode he got so muscular, he had like liposuction. They took out all the weight, and then he had all these muscles, and he was like an athlete. And he became so beautiful. His face had been reconstructed, and he had surgery and all sorts of stuff, and everything was so perfect that he couldn't look away from himself in the rearview mirror. And he was literally driving, looking at himself in the mirror. And he said, can't look away. Too beautiful. And then he
Aw.
wrecked. He ran off of the highway, and he had a car crash because he couldn't stop looking at himself in the mirror.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I haven't had those episodes, but I had funny episodes in the mirror, but not that.
Oh man, oh man. These
Yeah.
are the two books I'm reading right now.
Look at you.
Mm. And I'll see you soon. It looked like you about to bounce.
And I've been sitting in the car, but yeah, I need to go.
All right.
Right.
Hey, it's been wonderful.
As always. All right. Thank you, everyone. And safe travels. Bye.
Slow.